back. Best Girl is back. Yeah, so let's go back there. Finally, in the end there, we saw the old school Best Girl. His first... she did the first one to kill him, right? I'm not wrong, right? Yeah, like... It's been a while since first one, but she's the first one to actually kill him, right? So, but I mean, this in here, where you don't see her face yet, but you're like... I recognize those boobies anywhere. That's what I feel though. We saw her face in the next part, but I was like, those oppais there, yeah, it's pretty, those very revealing, the massive open, yeah, it's like, who is wearing that clothing, that kind of oppai, but I saw her like cookery, I guess like cookery, right, yeah, I saw her cookery, so kind of like, dagger sorting. OG Best Girl, yeah, she's back there looking all mean, right, so that's be interesting. So he finally died, and I know this stuff's gonna be said, right? But Subaru has actually been fairly alive this season. I think that's one thing. That's the main thing here. He's been fairly alive. Of course, he died episode 1, so he tried to, of course, save Rem. So it was like, he died here, right? But we haven't actually seen him die since then, right? I mean, he died twice the episode, but he haven't died since then. And that has been used, in the sanctuary. So this is the first time he died in 4 episodes, right? To see now where he starts that, where he restarts. Maybe she killed Rem. Maybe she is Fredrica. I keep thinking that I don't trust Fredrica whatsoever. I didn't even trust her before this, right? I didn't even trust Fredrica before this episode. And here we have this whole... the whole episode is like... what are you gonna say, right? Like, Ram is giving him this whole, like, don't trust her. If she does this thing... You have this, here it is, yeah. Ram is like, well, if something happens to you with Fredrica, tell Beatrice this thing. It's like, why is she, yeah, so, who knows, right? Like, what's the connection? I feel it's going to be a connection down to Fredrica and Elsa, those two are going to have a connection, right? Because it's so much it's so much referencing here to, first Ram is like, don't trust that woman whatsoever, right? There's something wrong with her. Yeah, and then Ram is like, if something happens with her, tell Bio this thing, right? There's a bit the warning to trigger her to defend you. Okay, so that's one thing, right? And then of course we see Garfiel also being like, I don't trust her either. And if she does something, show her this pendant, yeah, do this thing in her face, and that can protect you. It's like, okay, so why are they all really building up on that notion that they're like, man, she's dangerous. She has some kind of, she's planning something, yeah. So it'd be kind of fun if they were the same person. Throw it out there. If she will transform into her, right? To best oppai girl, yeah. If she would transform into her, it would be kind of funny. But even if it's not that, whatever. It's probably like they have some kind of connection, right? Like she, called her in there. She's like, oh, we have this, scene he's living over here. It's time to get some revenge, right? She's probably connected to the witch cult, whatever. Somehow that, right? It feels just. I started immediately with the whole. Why is she giving him this pendant and not explaining anything, if that's suspicious to me, and then of course the trigger is all right. So I feel like, man, yeah, it's suspicious and all that. And of course every damn character now is like, as a Ram and so on, they're like, man, she's up to something, so don't trust her whatsoever. But yeah, so I would be very surprised if those two characters don't have a connection, right? Somehow. Like, they have to have a connection somehow. I think that's like, well, I guess she could be there to kill them, but I don't know. But yeah, how is she... But I think that no matter what, then the way he would probably save his life this time, right, is probably by talking to Bia, right, and selling this word that Ram said, like tell her that that's probably the way to save himself, probably. But yeah, it looked really fishy. And the second time they showed the mansion thing with this like really weird lightning, so it looks like something's gonna happen, right? Even the first time too, but I wonder if Petra's alive and so on. But yeah, interesting part definitely. Let's talk about the Roosevelt part then in the and he's like, I did it on purpose, yeah. So Roosevelt admits nothing except that I did it all 3D 4D shots, guys. Yeah, I did it because I'm evil, yeah. So to me, this seems incredibly dishonest, right? In the sense that maybe he did plan it out to some extent though. That might be fair. Maybe he did plan it out to some extent. But I do feel in this episode here that instead of, it's like a classic diversion, right? So Subaru is like, why did you do it? Explain this and this thing. He's like, it was all my evil plan. What do you mean evil plan? I'm evil, no. And it isn't actually answering the question, right? He's like, how or why, how did you actually do this thing? Like, how and what's the issue between you and the witch cult and so on? instead of actually answering that, he's just like, I wanted this to happen, so it's perfect, according to me, right? That to me is like a classic dodging the question, right? He's admitting that it's his fault, but he's enjoying that it's his fault, right? So in that sense, he's taking on the blame, but he's still not explaining anything, right? He's still avoiding to actually detail out why it's happening, right? So yeah, I think that's yet another lie from Roosevelt. Except that there's probably a hint of truth there, that he might have been behind some of the things. But as Subaru said, like, how could you know this thing and this thing? It's like a hindsight thing. How could you plan out that it's going to happen? How could you know all this? So that's why I'm not buying either. But how would he know that if I do this thing will happen? So yeah, because it doesn't make any sense, Roosevelt. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any goddamn sense, Roosevelt. That being said, though, as I said or saw in my first early reviews, right? It feels like Roosevelt might know, right? Like he might be aware of his powers, right? That could be a thing. He might be aware that they have this, the power, right? Yeah, Sugoi. Yeah. I don't know. Don't trust him perfectly enough. But anyway, let's go to the romance thing. But definitely let's go. Let's go to the... No, actually, one thing I want to say first. The little Baba was cute. That was one thing. Little Baba, that was pretty cute. I don't know why, but one thing with her though, this is an ending thing, right? It's like a lot of her in the ending for some reason. There are a lot of them, so that's one thing. It's like, well, what does that mean? But she's the leader, but there are a lot of those. Maybe she can, Kage no Bunshin, like like Akina did. Oh yeah, let's go back to Best Girl. That was awesome. What's happening with that? That was awesome. It's like, look at me. I'm so many of me right now. Yeah, this was amazing. I need more of this. And Kina being, I'm over here now. Oh, I'm behind you. I need more of this thing, which is like, oh, you like me? It's 4 of me now. It can be 5 of me. She's like, you want a harem boy? I can be every girl in your harem. It's like, yes. But unfortunately, she didn't explain anything as always. But of course, it's interesting that she's, the whole trial thing is kind of interesting, right? It says that she's like, how did you like my trial, human? Ningen, how did you like that? Ningen. And he's like, I loved it. My parents are awesome. Right? And Subaru is like, thank you. You're so nice of you to me. I love my parents, and I love you, girl. That was very nice of you. She's like, okay, Ningen. He's like, this is like, you don't really know if she's not trying to be mean to him or she's trying to help him. Yeah, like I don't know if she's trying to help him or not, because he is like, thank you, that was great. And she's like, I didn't want it to be great. Yeah, so, or did she, right? Is she pretending to be evil, or is she actually evil? Right? So that for her is, yeah, I like her as a character, very interesting character, because you keep wondering if she's actually, Team Subaru and trying to help them win, right? Or Team Emilia or whatever, against all the witches, right? Or if she's like, I have my own evil plan or something. You don't know. Or maybe she's just... maybe she's both. One thing with her, though, with the new Best Girl here, is that, of course, she's the witch of greed. And she has the greed of knowledge, right? Like, that's the thing. I want to learn and know everything. So that, in itself, means that she probably doesn't have to be evil at all, right? Because she's just like... she egoistically wants to know everything. So she probably broke some, forbidden things to learn everything. But doesn't mean she actually is necessarily an evil person, right? Like with Roosevelt, like, I don't call her witch, she's like a nice girl, yeah, call her Akina. So yeah, I think that's a message into it, right? She's just like, no, I just wanted to be, learn everything. But anyway, I want to get something important on Emilia here then, when she's crying and so on. That was nice. She, of course, touched his hand, and Subaru didn't play it very well. Subaru could have played it better and be like, oh yeah, I like you too. Instead of being like, you love me? You love me? Like, god damn it, man. Did you just meet your mom and dad? Haven't you done? Anyway, one thing I will say here then. This is a little... I have not read the novel, right? Or the manga, whatever, right? So obviously I can't spoil that for you, so don't worry about that. But I have seen the OVA. Okay, I have seen the Frozen Bonds OVA. I remember the app name for whatever. I have seen the OVA. So I'm going to say one thing here now. That's in the OVA. So you arguably, it's like, I don't know, it's a spoiler thing, but I mean, OVA has been out for like 3 months, so but I it's gonna warn you for that thing. So in the OVA, so again then, in the OVA, we see a little bit of Emilia's backstory, right? And in the backstory, everyone is basically frozen, except her, right? She might be fine, which I can have something. The OVA doesn't really explain what happened, but everyone is like frozen. given her powers, and they're also very uncontrollable in the OVA, and she's crying and so on. She's like, I didn't mean to, right, in this whole episode here. My guess, right, of course, will be then, given that that's in the OVA, which I don't know if the OVA is like, you know, supposed to be like, well, what I mean is that I don't know if you read the source novel at this point in time, would the OVA have been in like a side story, I think. So I don't know if the reader would have read the OVA, you know, before or after, right? So that I don't know. But anyway, in the OVA at least, everyone's frozen, right? And she's like alone, and everyone's like ice. And here, of course, she's crying and saying, I didn't mean to do it. I didn't mean to do it, Dad. Kind of that, but yeah. So what I think, of course, is that she probably froze everyone, right? That to me seems to be like the no-brainer, right? Like, why would everyone be frozen? She is ice power. Her ice power is not very controllable in the OVA. She hurts people on accident, so with the blood things, she freezes. And here then she's crying in her like sad, you know, flashback thing and saying that I didn't mean to hurt anyone. I didn't, you know, hurt, but I didn't mean to do it. She's like, I didn't mean to do it. I didn't mean to do it. So that to me sounds like she's, you know, it's her fault that everyone is frozen, right? And she then unfroze herself, maybe, you know, unconsciously, or maybe because she has whatever her powers. That seems to be, I think, the reasonable, right, conclusion, right? That she is the one that froze the elves, and that's why she's alone in the OVA, when Puck finds her, yeah. And she's like, and there's also one thing too, for that matter. Why she said here in this episode, she's like, I didn't mean to, Dad, but she also calls Puck Dad in the OVA. She doesn't do it in the anime in the episode, but she calls Puck Dad. So in that sense, think about it, when she's saying like, I didn't mean to do it, you know, or I'm sorry, Dad, or father, or Gossan, that she said, Papa. That actually might be Puck she means there, because after she says that, she says, I didn't mean to do it, Puck, you know, kind of like that. So yeah, think about it. Dad in this case is probably Puck, and not actually, you know, like her actual father. Even though Puck is her dad, because the reason in a way is that Puck kind of finds her. He's the first one to find her, right? So she wakes up and calls him like Daddy, like a baby. Hey, are you my dad? It's like, yes, I will be your father. He kind of like, don't worry, girl, I'll be your dad. So that's what she calls him dad sometimes in the OVA. So when I think about it, that's probably it. Right? When she said dad in this episode, that was probably Puck she meant. When I think about it. But anyway, yeah, that's the episode, guys. Scrap it, that's all right. Great episode. I'm happy in a sense that Subaru died. No, but like, you know, one thing when you watch anime, right, is you want to see him die, right? Because you want to figure out how can I survive this. Because as a game, right, you play this game, you die on the boss, and you're like, is the boss maybe weak against this weapon, or should I, you know, hide behind the pillar, or what should I do, right? Let's replay, right? So in a sense, Subaru hasn't died in a while now, so now I can have my theories and I can think about, well, how can he defeat the best oppai girl? How is he going to avoid that, right? So I think that's great in a sense, if you're getting back to a little bit the classic storyline that he has like an issue to overcome, right? And obviously, like, he got stabbed again, like episode 1, yeah, back to the first death, right? But anyway, that's subscribe again. I'll see you guys on Friday. We have like a girlfriend and so on, right? And most like One Piece back. So yeah, so you guys can have a great day.